Good morning, YouTube. This is like a personal journal for me. I'm Ella Scott. You know me as Ella Scott. My real name is R.E.E. Reed Edwards. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Williamsburg housing. And I did a series of videos for the past couple of weeks now. And the latest one was Friday when everything is coming to a head. It's sort of like an analogy is a boil. And people know what boils are because I had it when I was a child. And then you don't want to lance it just yet. You want it to grow and so it could be just ripe. And then when it's ripe, it's time to get rid of it. Well, this is one of those things that took 5 years in the making, this boil. Metaphor, I'm a writer. That was a boil analogy. I haven't had a second cup of coffee, my Starbucks coffee. I like Folgers and Starbucks, so that's a plug to them, a free plug. But it's like a boil, and it's been 5 years, responsible for my mother's death, and these conditions. I'm a lot younger, but still it's getting to me. Never had asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome, all these on top of my other disability, because nothing was done, no action was taken, and these repairs. The theme of those videos I've done is about repairs and what's right and what's wrong. And then it came to a boil. I think it's lance now. The boil has been lance because when I showed you the paper about the HPD and the HQS, I'll show it again. But the HPD and the HQS, the HPD is of course NYCHA, and then HQS is Wavecrest Management, the new guy. It's on the video. Just let's go under Ella Scott, and it's Slum Landlord. And January, I wish it was July, January 22nd. It was after 10 that they came for an inspection. It was an inspection that I was expecting. And that's what a professional thing to do, to tell the tenants that you're coming, not I got it like that and I can come up anytime I want to, this and that. That's the way I don't present myself like that, or else I wouldn't have friends helping me of that are well educated. But they said, we don't have to give you notice, we can come up anytime we want to. And I said, and I don't, and then I, First Amendment right, protected by the Constitution as a disabled minority lady, I have a right not to open my door since I wasn't expecting you. And so they did put the paper on my door and my neighbor's door January 15th, saying that they're coming for an inspection, not work. Because they got to know what materials are needed, how much of the budget they need, and all of that. All of that was explained, and I explained in other videos, including having a reporter here January 8th. And that's the reason the reporter came, because he wanted, or they wanted to know, the reporter wanted to know why the people didn't come. You know, what's going on with that? Why they didn't come, the new people, that would be Wavecrest Management. And I don't like to be made a fool of. And so the reporter came. That's when it started to come into a head, that boil, because the management here didn't like it, because they could have put me in another apartment, and that's the other thing, repairs and put me in another apartment. They have my paperwork. They know that I can't be in here when extensive work is done. It's always been about repairs. Even when my mother's body was across the street, they talked about drilling a hole in my lock and letting themselves in, and didn't care about the inconvenience, didn't care where I lived at. And my mother's body was across the street in 2015. The reporter was here, the same reporter, same news people, came in 2015. That was August 12th, the day before my mother's funeral. And then they came again 5 years later, January 8th. So they came running up here, didn't care about me being exposed in this pandemic, and talked about, instead of fixing my toilet that's been clogged since Christmas, they talked about taking out the kitchen sink. And I showed you the kitchen sink numerous times. I'm just reviewing about what happened. I'm doing a synopsis, a recap right now on January 24th, almost 8 o'clock on Sunday. And anyway, wanted to take out the kitchen sink, the molded kitchen sink, which would have been dangerous. I called the environmental people my mother paid, and they came here 3 times before her death and after. And they said, you can't be in there when they do that. And then I showed them the latest thing about, I didn't stand up on a chair and put a magic marker. There's mold, speckle, and I can't put paper on everyone because I can't afford it. And plus, it's all over the ceiling. I didn't stand up on the chair and put it on the ceiling, the magic marker. It's mold. Because of the water damage, it goes back to the roofing. That wasn't a good job done. It's only 4 floors here in Williamsburg Housing. It's built in 1934. Mayor LaGuardia, look up the history of Williamsburg Housing in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And so the water damage, of course, is going to cause the humidity when it's very hot, or when there's no heat, very cold. It's going to suck into the walls. And of course, it's going to, this is somebody telling me this. I'm a biologist, not an environmentalist. But it causes the mold to come out, even in your private house. Remember the Katrina and what happened over there in Jersey when that hurricane came and all that water caused damage. And if you don't get rid of that moisture, it's going to be mold. And then people can't go back to the homes that they paid for and everything. And it has to be cleaned out, and it's extensive work. So they know what they're supposed to do, the landlords here. And so they were very angry. But on Friday, it came to the head because NYCHA didn't want these Wavecrest people to know about what's going on in these apartments. And so, to make a long story short, the guy saw it. You saw his reaction on the video. He said, I can't move you nowhere because I want to know why for 5 years you've been living under these conditions. And then that toilet being out since Christmas. No. And they talking about taking out the sink while you're in these conditions, even though your stuff is all boxed up. I boxed up stuff, I explained, because it was kind of chaotic in here, and a lot of stuff was molded and ruined. And I got rid of most of it. The rest got to go by truck. And the valuable stuff that's been protected, I put it in those new boxes. They call bankers boxes. Thank goodness for friends and people and Amazon. Thank you, Amazon, for having everything that I need and going to continue in the future when I go back to school sometime in the future. And then my new apartment currently, I'm going to be moved to a new apartment, but he wants to find out why I wasn't moved for 5 years. I know the answer, but let them tell their lies. And that's the reason for this video on January 24th. The lies is going to occur, the cover up. I'm the bad person. I'm the crazy person. They're going to say, oh, she's crazy. She's disabled. She's a minority. Those people lie and they're off. And they can't say I'm a prostitute or a criminal or whatever. So they got to put something on me. And by the way, I'm Irish, West Indian, Black, and Cherokee. To them, I'm African American. And they're going to do that. So speaking of that, I want to speak freely because I don't want to take up a lot of time on this video. I want to show you some stuff, but while I show you stuff, I can talk freely. But this is the times. I feel comfortable because I'm not a pretty person. And plus, the times about the social distancing and the mask. So it's like a symbolic gesture. But when I want to talk freely, it's kind of a hindrance since I have asthma and I have to take every breath and do all of that. And so I'm okay. It's just that it's hard for me to talk and do this. I have to go back to swimming and everything. That gives you good breath control. But anyway, I want to show you something. This is a picture of me with friends, like I said. This is how I look. I'm just thinner. Me with friends, these are Quebecan people. They're French-speaking people. I went up there with friends a long time ago. That was before my mother really got sick. And I was baptized Roman Catholic. That's why I was dressed like that. That's the church here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. My 2 godmothers, one of them died of a brain tumor. It was the size of a grapefruit. She was a brilliant lawyer, Italian-American brilliant lawyer, a real estate lawyer, and she was very loving. Italian-American. Her last name was Russo, Miss Russo. And my other godmother is named Murphy, Irish. She's been here since 1950. And that's Cherokee, Irish mom, and she says she's colored woman. She's proud to be an African American, but that's just our heritage. And I'm West Indian because my father's from the Virgin Islands. Isn't she beautiful? She was pushing 80 then, and her hair was very long, Cherokee way. And my hair is long too. My hair is much longer now than it is here because I kept it trim. But I haven't kept it trim lately. It's going to be practically down my back before it's done with. But anyway, this is my mom. She could pass for a Sicilian, Spanish, you know, she was a very beautiful woman. Her name was Ella Scott. That's her maiden name, Ella Scott, before she became Duce Edwards. Duce is my brother's father, who come from Morocco, Africa, and my father's Edwards. As English as you can get from the Virgin Islands. So that's me and her. I'm not hiding. I'm just doing a recap. And I want to show you a picture of somebody very important to me. This is my maternal grandmother. I told you I was going to show you this picture. She have hair down her back. Mostly Cherokee, the blonde hair, blue eyes. We was all born with blonde hair, strawberry blonde hair, and the temple to match. That's the Irish. That's from her side of the family. And her one of her grandmothers, her grandmother, was a cracker. She looked like a cracker, red hair, green, gray eyes. My grand uncle, the medicine man, had blonde hair, blue eyes, and a blonde goatee. But he said black. They said black because most of the people down south know they were black, even if they could pass for white and everything. This is from her side of the family, and she's mostly Cherokee and everything. And everybody looked alike, my mom and all of that. She was 37 at the time, and she dressed well because my father, who's part Blackfoot Indian and everything, and Black American, darker than all of us, but he had the Indian and nice hair, had a business, clothing business. They wasn't educated, but they was educated about the world. They built a church and a business back in Reconstruction. And that was in 1870s. Great-grandma was 106, 107 or something. Don't know when she was born and everything because it was born in the house. But she said she cried when Lincoln was killed and celebrated when Custer got his got what was coming to him, bad karma, you know. So she had 9 kids. The last one was born in 1893, and he died in 2005, 103 to 107. We're not sure. Grand Uncle Oscar. And they all look like this and everything. And that's my grandmother. I told you I was going to show you this. Okay. And I'm going to stop the video for a moment because I want to continue to talk about what may happen this week. So this is it for now. Thank you.